Welcome back to MMA. All right. Okay, opening up the card, we have Shauna Bannon taking on Nicolle Caliari. My prediction for this fight is Nicolle Caliari wins, and I'm going to go with her winning by round 2 submission. And the basis for the prediction is she has a really good ground game. And Shauna Bannon, she's shown skills there, but that loss to Sam Hughes, I've got this fight looking like that. I think Nicolle Cagliari can bring it on the feet. I think she's going to be looking to bomb away on Shauna Bannon, who's going to be more looking to joust, find that oblique kick range, and dictate things from afar. But I think Cagliari's going to either put her on the back foot and corral her into a takedown against the cage or catch one of those kicks that she's going to be probably flicking at her. And once on the ground, I think Cagliari is just going to be better. She may not run through her, but I do think she does go through her eventually. I've got it happening in round 2. I think she's just a better submission artist. She will advance. She could put her away with strikes too, but I think, on the ground. But I think she closes the show with a submission. Shauna Bannon, she's got 2 losses, one by submission, one by decision. She lost to Bruna Brazil in her UFC debut, and her second loss was to Sam Hughes, which was an uglier loss. And I've got this looking like that. Sam can be beastly on the ground when she's not fighting Piera Rodriguez. And, of course, Sam is a cardio monster. Nicolle Cagliari, her record, it's a little uglier, 8-4. She's got 4 tough losses. Siri Kondo, Kay Hansen. These are former UFC fighters. Siri Kondo was able to pressure her and take her down all 3 rounds. Kay Hansen as well, but then she closed the show with a guillotine in round 3. That's the Kay Hansen special. No better round 3 finisher than her. And then she lost in the UFC, or 2 fights in the UFC. A close fight against Ernesta Carrascate, even though I thought Ernesta won, but Cagliari was bombing away in the end, giving herself a shot, and she did earn one judge's nod, even though she probably shouldn't have. And against Carly Judice, she was overwhelmed there in the end. I don't think there's too many girls that can overwhelm you like that, but Carly Judice, we've seen her. She's a killer. Maybe not shot for shot, but over the course of 15 minutes, there's no shame in getting put away by her, and I don't think Shauna Bannon has that in her. I mean, she's a good striker, good fighter, nothing but forgivable losses for her. And that includes her fucking amateur career, by the way. But Shauna Bannon is not that kind of force. And I don't think she's Ernesta Carrascate or Carly Judice. And I think Cagliari, with a much more manageable matchup here, is going to rip her to the mat and do what she needs to do to get a win. I have bet on Nicolle Cagliari, but I really like the under 2.5 plus 280. These are women. And yeah, I've seen their fights. And I know Nicolle Cagliari is actually a potent finisher, but she's got 2 losses by decision. But Shauna Bannon, I know this one, it wouldn't surprise me if Shauna Bannon went the distance in any fight. And it really wouldn't surprise me here. But it definitely wouldn't surprise me if she got the finish. That's what I'm picking. It's plus 280. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I'll play that. And maybe some Puja Tomar type shit happens with Shauna Bannon anyway. She gets clipped. She fucking gets rocked and snatches an arm right afterwards. It's not always a grind with her. But still, I think this one's got more potential for a finish, a lot more potential, because I've got Cagliari dictating things. And with her, there's a lot more finishing upside. But her money line, which has been widening, it's still the safer play. And of course, this is one of the few fights with no props. So, with no extra props. So, you might want to wait. Next up, we have Luis Gurule taking on Daniel Barez. My prediction here is Barez wins, and I'm going with him winning by decision. And the basis for the prediction is speed. I think he's the faster guy, even though I've never sparred with either man. But I think he's faster. I think he's more technical. I think he's more technical everywhere, really. But I still think Luis Gurule is rough and tough. I think he's looking to make this a more physical fight, trying to grind on Barez. Not that he's, Mr. Grappler. Again, I think Barez is the better grappler, but Gurule is trying to grind on you. Getting tight where it's power range and grinding range. And I think Barez is the faster man on the outside and technically better on the ground, even though that brings me to my horse shit, which is he's been beaten 4 times by submission, Daniel Barez. Never knocked out, which is part of the basis for my prediction here, but Barez beaten 4 times by submission. Last came to Andre Lima, and I believe I picked Lima to win by submission. If not, I certainly bet on him. But the point is, Lima never won by submission before, and he finally got it done in round 3 against Barez, because sometimes it's just about the losses. They tell the story. And here, he's not likely to lose by submission to Luis Gurule, who's only got 1 submission, even though it was a nice round 4 arm triangle choke. But it's still probably going to be really long odds, and I'll look to piss away a fucking sprinkle on it. But as for the prediction, again, I think Barez wins. I think he's the better striker. I think Gurule probably hits harder, and he's going to be trying to crowd him, but Barez is going to be faster. And I also think Barez has, even though he's 37 compared to a 32-year-old, he still has 15 minutes of cardio in him easily. And again, a pretty damn solid chin. So without much confidence, the pick is Daniel Barez. The odds seem to be widening. He's actually a favorite now. I have an underdog now. I haven't bet on him, but I probably will. I'm going to wait for everything here. This is one of the last fights remaining without everything. The point spread, certainly, and the rest of it. But Barez is the pick. And yeah, Luis Gurule by submission. I'll throw a fucking penny on that. Next up, we have Alice Ardelean taking on Polyana Viana. My prediction here is Alice wins, and I'm going to go with her winning by decision. I do think there's a lot of potential for a finish here. I say that to justify my bet on the under. But I am picking a decision win for Alice Ardelean. Gun to my head, that's the most likely. But Polyana Viana, she's got a record of 13-8. All 13 of her victories are finishes, and just about every one of them's in round 1. So, of course, I'm going to play her winning round 1. The props have just dropped. It's plus 800 for her to win flat in round 1, plus 1100 for submission, which I think is how it would happen. But either way, it's just a Hail Mary, and it's covering her record, because her record is so distinct. I'd be an idiot to miss out on that. Like fucking Jim Miller with the round 1 guillotine last week. When somebody's most likely to win one way and you want to cover it, cover it. And she's a round 1 fighter. She's barely ever won round 2. She got 1 finish in round 2. And I think she might have won round 2 against Hannah Cyphers. I don't know. But either way, most of the time she's in round 2. She's losing, if not getting finished, Polyana Viana. She's been finished by a better class of fighter, in my opinion, than Alice Ardelean, which is why I'm picking this fight to go the distance. But I still think Alice Ardelean, she's certainly a better finisher than she's shown in the UFC. Before the UFC, she only had 1 win by decision. But now she's beaten 2 girls that aren't the problem that Polyana Viana is, but maybe they aren't as vulnerable either. So Alice Ardelean, she gets Polyana tired. She gets on top of her, gets her big ass in the full mount. Who knows what could happen? So altogether, I favor Alice Ardelean. I think she's going to have a tough first round with the danger of Polyana Viana, and she has given up 3 inches of height and reach or thereabout. But I think eventually she starts crowding her, outworking her, and bullying her. And again, there's definitely a potential for a finish. But the pick is Ardelean wins by decision. Next up, we have Andre Petroski taking on Cody Brundage. Holy shit, it's Cody Brundage. My prediction for this fight is Cody Brundage wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by round 2 disqualification. And I know I've run that joke before, but it's not a joke this time. I'm going with a round 2 DQ. That's what I think is the most likely outcome, a round 2 DQ. It's twice as likely as a unanimous decision or some conventional shit like that. If it's not going to be a DQ here, you're going to see some weird stoppage. It's going to be stopped due to an injury, or there might be like a technical majority decision, or one of them might just go fucking blind in the middle of the octagon. Might go blind, sitting there like Van Damme in Bloodsport. I can't see. Only Mr. Fuji didn't throw powder in his eyes or whatever. He's just going to go blind. Shit will go down in this fight. And if you don't believe me, go ask Jacob Malkoun. He fought both these guys. And you know what? Cody beat him by DQ, but Cody beat him. And he knocked out Andre Petroski with a phantom punch. He threw a punch. Andre Petroski was like 10 feet away from him, and he just fell down. Or maybe he like ran into him, took a shot, and like hit his head on his hip or something. I don't know. Either way, Malkoun was like, all right. Guy just took a dive, which he didn't do, but I mean, he literally did. He dove into his hip or whatever happened there. But whatever happened, it was horseshit. And here, I think there's definitely a lot of room for horseshit, but let me break down the fight conventionally. I think Cody Brundage has wrestling to take away the grappling advantage of Andre Petroski. Petroski's a monster. I haven't forgotten how fucking monstrous he is on top. And on the feet, these guys both hit hard. I don't know who hits harder. I think Petroski might be a little faster, but I think Cody Brundage is a little more durable. What? I can't believe those words just came out of my fucking mouth. And I actually meant them too. I like chambered that sentence and I was like, okay, what the fuck? As I said it, I couldn't believe the words coming out of my mouth. I think he's more durable, and he's certainly powerful enough to go through a less durable man. So I'm going with Cody Brundage. I think Cody has a manageable matchup here. He hasn't been the best nail. He is not. And whatever. There's always some horseshit, more horseshit with his record than with Petroski's record. But again, just ask Jacob Malkoun and he'll go, I don't know. So something's got to happen here. But yeah, Cody Brundage is the pick. I like Cody Brundage to win and to win by knockout. I bet on his money line because it was the only thing available. In the last 5 minutes, the props have dropped. His knockout line is plus 350. I think that's far and away the best method of victory for him. But what I like the most out of everything that just dropped is the under 2.5 rounds. You know, covers all the horse shit. Either guy could stub his toe and you're covered there as long as it doesn't happen in the last sixth of the fight. It covers the spontaneous combustion, covers whatever. Somebody might, I don't know. Fucking just skits out and fucking check out of the fight. Everything's covered with minus 2.5 rounds. So I like the under there, and it's minus 120. Again, I think I could see a fight where these two guys neutralize each other, and it turns into a prolonged Petroski Mearshart type of fight. But I still think neither guy here is the best nail, and frankly, Mearshart isn't the best nail these days either. He's a worse nail than either of these guys. But I still think a finish is more likely here. But Cody Brundage is the pick. Let's go, Cody Brundage. We have Ketlen Vieira taking on Jacqueline Cavalcanti. My prediction here is Jacqueline Cavalcanti wins, and I'm going to go with her winning by decision. I think Jacqueline Cavalcanti is faster than Ketlen Vieira, and I think she's big and strong. So I've got her resisting what I imagine will be Ketlen Vieira's attempts to take this fight to the ground. And on the feet, look, Vieira's still in it. She's a good striker, and she's one of the few girls that can match the size of Jacqueline Cavalcanti. But I just think, again, Cavalcanti's big, strong, good on the back foot, and I think she's a little sharper. I think she's just sharper as a striker. And again, she's a fucking warhorse herself, a 15-minute warhorse. She's no stranger to hard, long fights. She beat Melissa Croden way back in a 5-round fight after knocking her down fucking 5 times in the first 30 seconds. But in the UFC, which has been every fight after that, 5 straight fights in the UFC, and she's shown she can grind for 15 minutes. She had different tests, all kinds of different physical tests. Zarafan and Josiane Nunes to begin your career. Those are radically different fighters. Shut down Mayra Bueno Silva with ease. Thought there might be some room for some jiu-jitsu. Nope. Shut it all down. Had a good fight with Nora Cornale, but comfortably beat her despite the split decision result there. And she beat her for the second time. And I think here, this is definitely a step up. Ketlen Vieira's that next level, or at least in that class with Mayra Bueno Silva, even though she's a bigger test. But I've got Cavalcanti passing it. Again, she's got 15 minutes of work in her. She's good on the back foot, sharper on the feet, and I think physical enough to neutralize the wrestling attempts of Ketlen Vieira, the judo attempts of Ketlen Vieira. I think Ketlen Vieira is going to be stuck in a striking fight where she's a half step behind. And I could be wrong about that. No matter how well acquainted I am with a fighter, and I know both these fighters well, I've seen every fucking fight, I still go back and get a sense of things and see how they move, how they look, one after the other, and try to see who's sharper. And I think Cavalcanti's sharper. So, again, I've got her winning. I've got her winning by decision. I haven't bet on this fight. I don't know if I'm going to. Minus 160 for Cavalcanti, minus 105 for the decision. And then the point spread starts at minus 205 for Ketlen Vieira, plus 3.5 points. I don't know. But I do expect this to be a decision. Both girls are big, but not so dangerous. Ketlen Vieira was knocked out by Irene Aldana, and Cavalcanti can bring some heat. She really does have some good striking, but I'm still picking that fight, the Irene Aldana loss, to be the anomaly, and I'm taking this one to hit the scorecards. Next up, we have Artur Minev taking on Thomas Gantt. And by the way, I thought his name was Miniev up until I pulled up this page here. In Fury FC, they were calling him Miniev, and they actually had an extra I in his name as well. So who knows what the fuck is going on with all that. But regardless, these are two UFC newcomers, both undefeated, taking this fight on short notice. And my prediction here is Thomas Gantt wins, and I've got him winning by decision. And the basis for the prediction is he's had like an extra 48 hours to think about this fight. Now, I don't know. He took the fight against Trey Ogden a few days, if not weeks ago. And Trey Ogden fell through after his original opponent fell through, whoever that was. And now here, Miniev stepping up on short notice, or Minev. I do favor Gantt because of his wrestling. I don't know Minev's wrestling background. I know he's considered a wrestler, even though when you watch him strike, he's a pretty damn good striker. But I know he's a wrestler first and foremost, but I still just have to blindly favor Thomas Gantt. And also on the MMA front, Thomas Gantt's got a deeper resume. 11 wins, not all of them great, but he's had much more cage time as well in those 11 wins. Artur Miniev got a nice win over Derek Campos. If you don't know him, that win means something. And then he beat this guy. He steamrolled everybody in round one, aside from this guy that he got out of there in round two. And this is the only guy that gave him any trouble. It was a majority decision, Elias Alves da Silva. And it was a pretty lopsided fight aside from one moment in round two, or a few moments in round two. But he was really comfortable fighting 5 rounds there. Showed to have good takedowns down the stretch, really emphatic slam takedowns. Advanced the mount very easily. I think that guy's a little vulnerable on the ground. He's not the best test there. But still, it was a great showcase. The one strike against him, well, 2 strikes against him, come from round 2, where he was starting to have trouble dealing with this guy because the guy's a longer, taller fighter, and he was starting to make good with his range after a strong first round for Artur. And Artur started to get touched up a little bit and cornered and teed off on against the cage, but he was fine with that. He was looking to throw back, but then eventually he just got caught out of range in the middle of the octagon. He got caught with a right hand. It sat him on his ass, and the guy pounced on him. Nothing really came of it, but still, it was a dicey moment for him. And then after that, he recovered well and reclaimed control of the fight, but he hit the guy with illegal shots to the back of the head from the back mount or the full mount in round 2, and then he did it again in round 4. So the ref took a point, and I don't know what the scorecards were, but he was dominant in that fight. Majority decision, whatever, but he was dominant. Round 2 was stolen from him, but he still fought a pretty comfortable fight there. And my point is, it was a great display of traits altogether. You know, when a guy's just steamrolling everybody, you want to see him face adversity. And if he could do it after round 1, that would really tell you a lot. And for him to have a rough end of round 2, I think it was at the end, and then again come back and fight very well after that for another 3 rounds, I thought it was really impressive. So there's no strike against either guy. Both guys look really impressive. They have skills everywhere. I think Miniev's sharper on the feet, and he's got really dangerous power. You know, it's not just about the sharpness of his strikes. He throws with power, and he's definitely got that touch. But I still have to favor Gantt, just without ever having seen him lose. Thomas Gantt's a well-rounded guy, too. He's shown he can grind. He's got just one decision win in his 11 victories, but he's still got plenty of finishes outside of round 1. Really good grinder. Good win. The Montreal James, that was his decision win. I think it was pretty comfortable after maybe a slower round 1. Maybe he took over that fight. I don't know. I saw every fucking fight I can get my hands on. But largely, he's never been tested. Not a lot of moments of adversity. He steamrolled everybody. Supposed to get a nice test on the Contender Series and made easy work of him inside 3 minutes with a guillotine. I think Thomas Gantt has a lot of upside. He's definitely got jiu-jitsu. He's not just a rider. He's definitely got jiu-jitsu, and he's definitely got striking. I think he's up against it striking-wise against Minev, but I still think he can dictate things, find a better spot to be in with his wrestling. So if he finds himself up against a superior fighter here on the feet and on the ground, he still can stuff his guard maybe. But without having the firmest grasp on either guy and waiting to see them at the UFC level, and even this fight, frankly, won't tell us everything because you'll hear me say next time that neither guy here was really tested. I still think Thomas Gantt should win this fight. I think he'll be able to dictate things with what I'm imagining is better wrestling, although there's no fucking telling any of that until we see them fighting. Needless to say, I'm not looking to bet on this. Thomas Gantt is a minus 230. Artur Miniev is plus 190. And it's weird. The fighter I saw fight, Minev, he's so fucking good. I'm looking at him at plus 190, and it just looks enticing no matter who's on the other end of things. But Thomas Gantt really impressed me as well. He really impressed me. He's a dominant fighter, and he's kicking ass and in his athletic prime here. He's no spring chicken, but I think here he's going to be too much for Artur Miniev, whatever. All right. Next up, we have Tokkos taking on Ivan Erslan. My prediction here is Ivan Erslan wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I think he would get the first knockout, too, between the two of them. And I'd probably pick Tokkos to get the first submission between the two of them. But I'm going with a decision here. I think Ivan Erslan is the faster guy and more powerful guy. But Tokkos is bigger, and I think Tokkos would be the one trying to mix it up and take this fight to the ground. Uh, he might have success there, but in general, I think Ivan Erslan is going to be well conditioned and too physically strong to just be bullied. And I've got him keeping this standing and getting the better of Tuco on the feet with speed. Both guys have been finished every which way, but on the feet, Ivan Erslan, he's been knocked out once against Rafał Haratic, good Polish fighter. I think he's Polish, but that guy's really good. He knocked him out, and that was a good, clean knockout. And Navajo Sterling almost knocked him out. Let's be honest. At the end of that fight, that last minute. Tokkos has 2 knockout losses. They come in 2022 and 2020. Ty Guerder and then his UFC debut. Oh no, I'm sorry, a UFC road to UFC fight against Mingyang Zhang, who's really fucking dangerous. I don't know where he's been since his loss to Johnny Walker, but he bounced back after going 0-2 in the UFC to Umar Sy and Navajo Sterling. With a good win over Junior Tafa, strangling him in round 2. And here, I think he's going to be trying to do the same type of thing. Most of his wins come by TKO, but here with Ivan Erslan, the way Ivan Erslan looked against Jimmy Crute, not to mention he's got another submission loss to Thomas Narcoon, really good fighter. But I think Tokkos is going to be looking to go that route. And if he gets him down, especially if he gets him down in the second half of the fight, it might become a much more reasonable outcome. But I think Ivan Erslan, again, is going to be too strong to go through. I don't think Tokkos is going to go through him like Jimmy Crute did. Jimmy Crute is a different problem, both submission-wise and strength-wise. And on the feet, even though Tokkos is bigger and longer and taller, I think Ivan Erslan's shots will mean more. I think they're more powerful. I think he's faster as well. And again, he's pretty fucking tough. In my opinion, especially when you consider the other's power, he's more durable here in this matchup. So Ivan Erslan is the pick, and he is not the bet. Ivan Erslan, he's minus 175. I think I'm just staying away from this in general. Let me look and see what Tokkos by submission in rounds 2, 3, plus 1,300, 2,000. Yeah, I think in general I'm just staying away from this. This is one where I'm not even going to go reaching for horse shit. Well, I always say that. And by the time the fight rolls around, I'll be like, my back's against the wall. What do you know? No, but I do think in general this one is tough to predict. I think it's a close matchup. Even if it goes to the scorecards, it's a close fight. And of course, both guys are vulnerable, and it's always possible there's a finish. So, Next up, we have Khaos Williams taking on Nikolay Veretennikov. My prediction here is Veretennikov wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. The basis for my prediction is I think he's getting a favorable matchup here. I really think Khaos, or either guy really, mixing it up and taking the fight to the ground would be big for them, for either guy. And that could be the story of the fight. But in general, I expect this one to be contested on the feet, and I think Veretennikov is better. I think he's sharper. Khaos Williams, he can bring it. He hits harder. I think he gets the first knockout here. And in addition to that, I think he gets the bigger moments. but I think Veretennikov gets the smaller moments with straighter punches and sharper strikes. This could turn into a really exhausting, grueling 15-minute fight, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. But I still think both guys will be fighting hard till the end. I do think, in general, this one goes the distance and it's pretty close. I favor Veretennikov despite him being 36, because he, despite having 2 losses by TKO, seems to have a really good chin. The recent loss came to Austin Vanderford last year. That was a total grappling loss. And then he lost back in 2014, which it doesn't matter if he was cleanly knocked out. But it's a TKO at 3 minutes into round 2. So stands to reason it could be a ground and pound finish. Regardless, Nikolay Veretennikov, I do think he's very tough. And I think, again, he doesn't win like he did over Nico Price. I think it's a hustle and a grind. And I think they're both going to be breathing out of fucking broken noses. But I've got Veretennikov winning. Khaos Williams, I haven't liked the way he's looked in the last few years, really. Well, I don't know if I should say that, but certainly not in his last fight. He lost Andreas Gustafsson, was just physically dominated in that fight and bullied. He did make it the distance, but I don't know. Kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And before that, he fought Gabriel Bonfim. No shame in getting subbed there. Gabriel Bonfim is dangerous like very few fighters, but he did get subbed. And then before that, he knocked out Carlston Harris, which, whatever. I don't want to take away from that. That's a great win, but it doesn't tell us much, him getting a win in 90 seconds. And then before that, he had 2 close fights. Randy Brown and Rolando Bedoya, both split decisions. And not bad, either one of those fighters, but, and the Randy Brown loss is certainly forgivable. He's now headlined UFC events, even if it didn't go his way because he fought this motherfucker right here. But still, he has certainly lost his shine. And Rolando Bedoya, I think he was really underrated in the UFC. Not underrated, but one of those fucking deceptively tough Artem Lobov types. That's just, he's going to give you a fucking hell, especially if you're a striking based fighter. But still, here, he's fighting another striking based fighter, and he may not be as, relentless as Rolando Bedoya and as weak or not imposing as Rolando Bedoya. Veretennikov's a little more imposing, but I think he's sharper. He's still quicker than Khaos. I think Khaos his strikes might mean more, punch for punch, but he's going to be beaten to the punch by Nikolay Veretennikov, at least early before the fight turns into a fucking mess. So yeah, I've got the fight turning into a mess. I've got Veretennikov winning on the scorecards. I am not confident in that prediction whatsoever. He's plus 400 to win on the scorecards, so I'll think about it. But in general, I think I'm staying away from this. So, you know what that means. I'll probably put a sprinkle on draw and maybe the Hail Mary round 3 knee bar. Up next, we have Timothy Cuamba versus Bernardo Sopai. My prediction here is Timothy Cuamba wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I think Timothy Cuamba will be more physically imposing here. He's coming down to bantamweight. He's a guy who's fought up against Balaji Ogi, and here I think he's going to be more physically imposing. I think he's still going to be in great shape, and I've got him landing the bigger shots down the stretch against Bernardo Sopai, who I expect will be at a technical advantage in the beginning of this fight. Bernardo Sopai, he's probably at a technical advantage over anybody in the beginning of any fight. A really clean fighter. He's got skills everywhere, and he's got nothing but tough losses himself, as does Timothy Cuamba. But here, I think Cuamba is again going to outlast him and land the bigger shots. I think he's more physically imposing and he's going to shut down the grappling, at least after a while, and turn up the pace, pick up the pace like Timothy Cuamba can do. Bernardo Sopai, he's got that bad knockout loss to Vinicius Oliveira, but he took a year off or 10 months off and came back against Ricky Tercios. Got a clean victory there. And now he's been off for a year and whatever, 4 months. And he's still only 25 years old. Okay, he didn't exactly ruin his life there, but he can't let the wheels fall off. This is still a big test. He's still probably grown by leaps and bounds. And again, his skills were already there. This kid is fucking awesome. But here, I think, again, physically, Timothy Cuamba can shut down his grappling, at least after one takedown or so. And I think Timothy Cuamba is going to start taking it to him down the stretch. Bernardo Sopai took that fight against Vinicius Oliveira on short notice. Yes, very short notice. But that was one where he was physically overmatched. And that became the story after a pretty quick start for Bernardo Sopai, where he was doing really well. And before that, he's got two forgivable losses, both by decision. This guy Nuzzi, I think, was on the Contender Series. But yeah, he's still relatively unproven. That win over Ricky Tercios, I know he's an Ultimate Fighter winner, but he's not one of the better Ultimate Fighter winners. And Bernardo was just way too clean for him, way too clean. But here, Timothy Cuamba is the exact opposite type of fighter of Ricky Tercios. Timothy Cuamba, when he throws strikes, he means it. And again, he's not somebody who can be bulldozed and physically controlled like Ricky Tercios. So I think this will be close. I favor Timothy Cuamba. I've bet on Timothy Cuamba as an underdog, but what I like the most is his point spread. I see Timothy Cuamba surviving Bernardo Sopai, even though Bernardo's fucking awesome. I see him surviving Bernardo Sopai and then winning the decision, but at the very least, taking a round from him. And I would have that round being round 3. So I like Timothy Cuamba's point spread more than anything else. But again, he's an underdog, so I bet on that. Next up, we have Christian Edwards versus Modestas Bukauskas. My prediction here is Bukauskas wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision, but I do think this is a chance for him to get a nice finish in the UFC. I think it'd be nice to see him close the show with a submission, really, like he did with Marcin Prachnio, but I would pick him to get a knockout if he got a finish, and I would pick that to happen later, frankly. But still, I think Bukauskas wins, and gun to my head, I think he wins by decision. Christian Edwards is stepping up on short notice to make his UFC debut. He's 27 years old, has an 8-4 record, 5 knockout wins, 1 submission win, and the other 2 by decision. And his 4 losses include 2 decisions, 1 knockout, and 1 submission. The submission loss came in Bellator against Raheem Cleveland, who's a good fighter and was able to outlast him and catch him with a minute left or so in that fight. And he got knocked out in 38 seconds against Ben Parrish. His other 2 losses are to good fighters, his last one being to Luke Fernandez before he got into the UFC. And then he got knocked out against Adolfo Bellato, who is the guy that Christian Edwards is replacing, ironically. Huh? No? But still, I think he matches Bukauskas physically, but I think he's up against a sharper striker who moves better than he does, Bukauskas. Bukauskas can fight on the back foot if Edwards is going to be stalking him. And I think once Bukauskas is outlasting him anyway, he's going to be marching him down. And on the ground, look, either guy can mix it up, but Christian Edwards, he's not Jimmy Crute or something. And I think Bukauskas is deceptively good on the ground. He's big, he's strong, and he's going to be in much better shape. So he could marching Prochnio Christian Edwards, get him on the ground and go through him in round 3, which would be nice. But I'm picking him to win by decision. He's in a really good spot here. His chin is his biggest liability. So I'm expecting Christian Edwards to be an underdog. And maybe I'll look to sprinkle on the knockout side of his line there. But I'll be looking for Bukauskas first and foremost because he is my pick to win. Picking decision, but again, I think he gets the first knockout and the first submission. Diaz making his UFC debut against Malcolm Wellmaker. My prediction here is Malcolm Wellmaker wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by knockout in round 1. That's going to be with a left hook. But still, I'd like to see Wellmaker have to answer some questions and win in a competitive fight with a nice round 2 knockout, a round 3 knockout. But in general, I think he is that dangerous. I don't think everybody's Ethan Ewing, even though this guy's got a ton of experience, more than Ethan Ewing, and a ton of upside, Juan Diaz, because he's only got 1 loss, and it was barely a loss, and he's on a 10-fight winning streak and all that. But I still think Malcolm is the best guy he's fought. I think Malcolm is a physical problem for him. Juan Diaz isn't going to be able to take him down. I don't think he'll be able to make that the story of the fight anyway. And I don't think on the feet he's going to get the better of Malcolm. Juan Diaz is good on the feet, but so is Malcolm Wellmaker. And I think Ethan Ewing is incredible. I think he's incredible. I think those first 2 losses in his career, in his first 2 fights, have made everybody, myself included, overlook him, even though I thought he had promise going into that Wellmaker fight. But Wellmaker, to his credit, he didn't go anywhere losing to Ethan Ewing. That was his first time losing. I wouldn't say he got his ass kicked, but if you had to say that about somebody, it was him. And he, I'm sure, internally was discouraged, but he didn't show it. And he stood tall to the end. But that's not good enough. Here, I expect him to have tried to make that his striking better, to learn from that. Malcolm Wellmaker was beaten to the punch. He was also out-wrestled against Ethan Ewing. Ethan really frustrated him. He was just quicker, he moved better. And Malcolm Wellmaker, I think, was a little flustered when the guy didn't go down after he landed a beautiful right hook. So I think here he lands the hook and gets the knockout. But if not, because no one's knocked out Juan Diaz, I hope to see Malcolm Wellmaker fight a nice 15-minute fight here, which, by the way, is something he's done in the past. He's mixed it up in the past to win as well in his decision wins. He's got 2 decision wins. Where are they? A majority decision and a split decision. But he won both. This one against Taylor Moore was a little more grimy. But I guess this one, Kamara here, Zachariah, I believe, he ended up taking him down and mounting him in the end. And or at least for a part of round 3. But Malcolm Wellmaker, I don't think it's about his deceptive grappling or whatever doesn't meet the eye. I think it's about what meets the eye here. And I think it's about him getting his 7th knockout and his 11th victory. I mean, we saw what he did to Chris Moutinho, Cameron Simon, great fucking win, and the guy Adam Bramshold on the Contender Series. 3 consecutive knockouts, serious power. And say what you will about their durability, those guys, especially Chris Moutinho, even though he's definitely got tough. He's a tough guy with fighting spirit. But Malcolm Wellmaker does have next level power in his hooks. So I've got him knocking out Juan Diaz. I'm not looking to bet on that. Malcolm Wellmaker is a minus 278 favorite. I do think he wins the decision if it went to the scorecards, and I'd like to see that. But this guy's got a wealth of experience, Juan Diaz, and again, a very pretty record, just like Malcolm's. So I'm just staying away from this one. If Juan Diaz was the win, certainly I'd pick him to win by decision, which could be played here at plus 650. Maybe that's the play. I'll just waste money on that. I know I wouldn't touch his point spread because I fear the power of Malcolm Wellmaker too much. But yeah, maybe a sprinkle on Juan Diaz by decision, using his veteran savvy and experience to outpoint Malcolm Wellmaker, kind of like Ethan Ewing did, even though I think he was even more inexperienced, on paper. But again, Wellmaker by knockout is the pick. And in the co-main event, we have Duho Choi taking on Daniel Santos. My prediction here is Santos wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I think he's going to outwork Duho Choi by mixing it up on the ground and landing the better shots in the second half of this fight. I think Duho Choi is going to start off cleaner, sharper, straighter shots, better movement, and I think he's not going to be able to put Santos away, and Santos is going to do what he does, keep coming, bombing in, and take over this fight. And I've got him winning by decision, but of course, late stoppage, knockout wouldn't surprise me. And for Duo Choi, if he was to win, I would go with him winning by decision, just kind of plugging in their records. But of course, he's a really dangerous guy. So a knockout wouldn't surprise me for him either. But Daniel Santos is definitely the pick. This guy's really impressed me. He had that loss to Julio Arce, where I believe he took the fight on short notice, and he was largely tamed on the feet, cleanly outstruck. Julio Arce was shucking off some dangerous spinning strikes and shit from him, and then just cleanly outpointed him. And since then, he hasn't beaten the best competition. But that win over John Castaneda that he had immediately afterward, that really impressed me. He outlasted Castaneda after catching a big head kick early. He survived, weathered the storm, and then outlasted and knocked out Castaneda. And since then, we've seen him beat Johnny Munoz, Jung Young Lee, and Joe Sang Yu. Not the most firmly established guys in the UFC, certainly not like Doo Ho Choi, although they're still Korean, some of them anyway. But I still think Daniel Santos, he's here to stay. He's only 31 years old, just turned 31. And I've got that ultimately being the difference. I think he's going to have more energy and he's going to be pushing harder than Doo Ho Choi in the end. Duo Choi, he's still only 35 years old, but he did have his big gap, 3 year gap for his military service. And since then, he's still undefeated. He's 3-0 or 2-0-1. Had that close fight with Kyle Nelson, went to a draw with the horse shit there. And then wins over Bill Algeo and Nate Landwehr, which are both good guys. Bill Algeo retired. Nate Landwehr might have retired. So maybe they aren't the most impressive wins today. But I think Daniel Santos is a guy who's not going anywhere like those guys. If he loses, he's not about to retire. I think Daniel Santos, again, is here to stay. He's in his prime. He's tough as fuck. And I think he's going to keep coming. And Duo Choi, if he doesn't get knocked out like he did against Charles Jourdain and Jeremy Stevens down the stretch, I think he loses a fight like he did to Cub Swanson. There's his other loss where Cub Swanson beat him in Fight of the Year back in 2000 and what was that? 2016. I was gonna guess like 2010. I don't know. I know it was UFC 206. That's right. But yeah, going with Daniel Santos. I couldn't tell you, again, I'd pick him to win by decision, but I couldn't tell you how he's more likely to win, really. Says plus 275 for decision, plus 225 for knockout. I just played his money line. I like Daniel Santos to win this fight. Maybe the round 2 finish. Round 2 finish. For knockout, it's plus 750. I'm happy with the money line. Daniel Santos is the pick. Winning by decision. He's got a lot of momentum lately, Milk, and a lot of real momentum because of his 2 knockouts, which I should just pull up here, over Dan Ige and Morgan Charrier. 2 guys that I considered impossibly durable. I mean, I consider those 2 guys the 2 most durable featherweights on earth. And I know Charrier was heel hooked against Saladin Parnasse way back. But other than that, neither of those guys was ever finished. And Mel Costa at kicking range got it done. Although with the spinning back kick against Dan Ige, it's not some normal kick. And of course, that's the type of strike I'd expect if you told me Dan Ige was going to get knocked out. But Milk, he's on an incredible winning streak. Showed he could grind with hard fights against Julian Erosa, Christian Rodriguez, and then got 2 good finishes over Andre Fili and Shailon Nurbandeke. The only time he was ever truly knocked out was against Steve Garcia, who is fucking ferocious in a way that even Arnold Allen is not. So I think Milk, who is still 29 years old, is in very good shape, his chin, because I think Arnold Allen is going to be trying to win with his hands. I think it's about boxing versus outside kickboxing here. I think the kicking range belongs to Milk, the boxing range and the physical range belongs to Arnold Allen. Not that if they're grappling, he totally gets the better of Milk, but I think he's stronger. But I think Milk could be the better grappler, and Milk might be the more willing grappler. So there's definitely points to be scored in a 5-round fight. But I don't think either guy goes through the other. Of course, the only guy who's ever been finished is Mel Costa. He's been knocked out and he's been submitted. Thiago Moises got him out of there. And then this other good fighter, Rafael Barbosa, got him out of there fucking 8 years ago. The arm triangle choke, round 3. But Arnold Allen, even though he latched up a choke, a ninja choke or a high guillotine on Mads Burnell, who's a good grappler. Arnold Allen got him out of there in round 3 in the UFC. He could definitely catch Costa, but I don't think he's likely to out-grapple Costa, and I don't think he's going to be taking his back and finishing him. I don't think he's going to Thiago Moises him. I think Mel Costa would be the one looking to out-grapple Arnold Allen. And on the feet, I think, again, it's boxing range versus kicking range. I think Arnold hits harder, punch for punch. And I think he's going to be trying to do that thing where he just fucking Phil Baroni's you or Vitor Belfort's you like he did to Dan Hooker. Get in that tight range where he can overwhelm Costa with his power. But I think Costa's really good circling. He moves well on the outside. Again, I think he dictates things with his kicks. And again, now he's way more dangerous with his kicks. He's just dangerous altogether. Where it wouldn't surprise me if he's the first guy to finish Arnold Allen. After he was the first guy to finish Ige and the first guy to knock out Morgan. But Arnold Allen has 4 losses, and they're all to really good fighters. Even the guy that beat him before the UFC, Marcin Rachukchek. I don't know. I know how to spell it, but not say it. But Marcin, and then in the UFC, losing to Max Holloway, Jean Silva, and Movsar Avoyev. Those are his only losses. Those are champions and contenders. And Mel Costa has not proven himself to be on that level. He just has not yet. But he's got a ton of momentum. That win over Dan Ige has him knocking on the door of the Arnold Allens and all these guys at that level. And I've got him passing that test. I think Melk outpoints Arnold Allen. Again, I think he might look for the points to be scored on the ground. And on the feet, I think Arnold Allen is going to be looking to crowd him. But I think Melk is going to land the better shots and be the better kicking range fighter. So Melk Costa is the pick. And Mel Costa is the bet, just because I couldn't fucking resist. He's an underdog, and I bet on him, Mel Costa. I do think far and away decision is the most likely outcome, but I think, again, coming off 2 knockout wins over Morgan Charrier and Dan Ige, I'm too scared to commit to a decision prop. So Mel Costa is the pick, and the money line is the play. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.